Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about whether or not cutting firewood and burning firewood to heat your home throughout the winter and cooler months is cost effective and maybe even cheaper than all your other alternative sources to heat your home with throughout the winter. Make sure that you like this video if you decide that you like it and I'm offering good information. It helps the channel out, helps push the video out to more people who might be interested in it. Also, let me know down in the comments why you ultimately burn firewood. If you feel like it saves you any money, what your thoughts are on that. And lastly, if you like the content you're getting here, click subscribe to get more like it. So let me just start off this video with a disclaimer. These numbers, these figures, these savings, these expenses are going to change a whole lot depending on where on the globe you are located. Just so you know where I'm coming from, I live in northeastern Arizona. We do have to cut firewood here. It does get fairly cold here. We were up at almost 6,000 feet in elevation. It's a very similar climate to Colorado and Utah. So heating oil, this is the first most expensive alternative to firewood heating source that you'll have. And this is the most expensive one. I am finding that it's $2,200 on average per year to heat a home with heating oil. So then the next most expensive, which would be the option that I would pretty much be stuck with, and that is propane. And they're saying, in the propane figure, I actually went to a lot of different resources and kind of averaged out the resources. And what I came up with was a figure of about $1,800 per year. And that's not just running, propane for the whole year. I mean, that is just heating with a propane furnace, heating a home with a propane furnace throughout the winter months. So that's not propane for the whole entire year. Next in line is about $1,400 a year for electricity. Now, I don't know if that's using space heaters, a heat pump inside of an air conditioner, or what exactly they're getting those numbers from. But they're saying about $1,400 per year just for heating the home. That's not $1,400 a year. And electricity, that's about $1,400 per year just in heating the home. Now the cheapest one is natural gas, and this is what my dad runs. He used to be a firewood cutter back when we had the home that he built with the wood stove. Natural gas is definitely the best alternative. I live only about 40 or 50 miles, I think it's about 40 miles away from him, and we don't have natural gas in this town that I live in. Okay, now we're getting into the costs of cutting the firewood, collecting the firewood, all those things. Let me tell you what I'm not including in here. That is the purchase of trailers and hauling equipment and trucks and SUVs or anything like that to move this firewood with. What we're leaving it to is just simply the startup costs, the purchasing of equipment to cut the firewood and collect the firewood, and then the cost to transport the firewood, not including the truck. So some of the things that you are going to have to purchase when you do, and I mean, I'm sure I'm talking to a lot of people who already have this stuff here, but I just went through and I figured out, just kind of based on the equipment that I have, an initial startup cost. So what I came up with was about $620 for a total startup cost. That's getting you a decent chainsaw. So for example, I use the price of a Steel MS-251. To me, if you're only going to buy one saw, it should be that saw or a saw similar sized in a different brand, like Husqvarna or Echo. In my mind, those three are the only brands really worth buying. Stay away from the Craftsman stuff, the Poland Pros, the Chinese saws on Amazon, things like that. You can buy those things, maybe consider them for second saws, but for your first saw, just get something quality and reliable. So then I have a sharpening kit. I said that was about 40 bucks. You could go all kinds of different ways with that. An extra chain, you'll definitely want an extra chain at $30. You'll also probably want an extra chainsaw for that matter, but I didn't include that in this. Safety gear at 130 bucks, hard hat, ear stuff, chainsaw chaps, I do have a pair of those. Splitting maul, 40 bucks, this doesn't require big splitting tools. And then I figure there's like a maintenance and repair cost of maybe like 200 bucks over a 10-year period. Somebody might tell me that's absolutely crazy, that's way too low. Somebody might tell me that's way too high. Let me put it this way. I have had a Steel MS-180 for I think 6 years now, going on about 6 years now. And granted, about 3 years, I hardly cut any wood out of those 6 years. But 3 years, I've cut quite a bit of wood in with it. So I don't think it's necessarily outrageous to believe that you could get away with only spending about $200 in repairs and maintenance. I divided all that up, everything all together, including the repair and maintenance costs, and I have $82 per firewood cutting season to start, to get the equipment you're starting off with, assuming it lasts about 10 years, assuming you have to replace all the stuff within 10 years. We're talking $82 per month, I'm sorry, $82 per season. If you really wanted to throw it up there, you could say maybe $100 a season. Maybe $100 a season for all this stuff. Okay, now let's talk about the cost to go and get the wood, to haul the wood. So for me, I can drive to where I call on top of the mountain and go, it's about an hour drive away from me, about 50 miles. And I can go cut wood up there and get a bunch of softwood, or I can drive what's actually only about 25-ish miles away from me and go get some hardwood, some shaggy bark juniper. So we make these drives, and it costs me roughly about $40 to pay for the fuel to drive up to the top of the mountain and to come back down the mountain. That's pulling a large dump trailer and the fuel in the chainsaws. We use not even a gallon, maybe a third of a gallon every time we go out. We're looking at about $40 just for fuel costs. About $4 a quart of bar oil. That's assuming we basically run through just about a quart every time we go out and cut wood. So about $4 for bar oil. And then I also figured in wear and tear on the vehicle alone in that $20, you know. So what I figured was that it's about $66 for me to go out and get a cord of wood, So to go get it out of the forest, I pay $2 per cord. This year it was cheaper than it's ever been. It was 10 cords, and you had to buy a minimum of 10 cords for $20, so $2 a cord. So now how many cords of wood do we have to get to make it through a winter season? That number is roughly about 7. That's like 5 cords of softwood, and 2 cords of hardwood is roughly what we did last year. The cost to burn this firewood for me is about $462 per year. So if you wanted to go and throw in another, $38 to make that an even $500, round it up for any other miscellaneous expenses, things I'm forgetting, or maybe you buy the more expensive, better bar oil and fuel, whatever it is, we call it $500. That's still half for the cost of the cheapest option alternative to firewood, right? So there is definitely, for me, in my situation, some savings to burning firewood to heat my home. And last winter we heated our home 99% only with firewood. Couple times we threw on the heater just because of whatever inconvenience, we were just willing to turn it on. Now to go get 7 cords of firewood, we're killing about 7 Saturdays or weekends in a year, not full weekends, but one day out of the weekend in a year, to go and collect this firewood with about anywhere from 5 to 8 hours to go collect it all. So, if you're like, man, that's not worth it at all to give up all those days to go cut firewood, that's understandable. For me, this is more of a lifestyle. It's not all about money savings, although I definitely do appreciate the money savings aspects to it. It is more of a lifestyle. And I wrote a few things down of why I choose to do it. First thing is just being self-reliant. My goal is to have at least 2 years of 2 winters worth of firewood stored here on the property, just in case we ever need that much wood. We can't go up and get wood off the mountain for whatever reason. We can't drive out to the ranch where we get free shaggy bark juniper wood from. Things like that. We'll be able to make it through the winter warm for 2 good winters with 2 winters worth of firewood here. I think we have everything we need for this winter. Now we just need to start collecting more for future winters. The other thing is just teaching my kids to work. I have, a big part of this whole little homestead thing that I'm trying to do here is trying to teach my kids to work, to be involved in things that are productive and give them things to do so that they have a positive and productive childhood. Just another reason is just being active, getting exercise, having fun. I enjoy collecting firewood a little bit. There are times where I go out and I don't want to do it, but sometimes I really enjoy going out and being in the forest, being in nature, collecting firewood, just doing something good and healthy for me. But you know, there's a lot of good things that are coming out of cutting your own firewood and burning it to heat your home. At the end of the day, as the saying goes, firewood heats it twice. It heats you up when you cut it, maybe even 3 times. Maybe when you cut it, when you split it, and when you burn it. Thanks everybody for watching. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button if you haven't already, if you like this video. Also, go down, click subscribe if you're not a subscriber. And don't forget to let me know in the comments if you're a firewood cutter, why you like cutting firewood, why you choose to cut firewood, or maybe why you don't cut firewood and why you think it isn't worth it. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you in the next video.